Hi guys, welcome to another video of mine, and on today's video we are going to cover the form I-765 employment authorization and how to fill it out. Before I go into this, I must tell you that people, I'm not a lawyer, and so any advice given on this channel should not be taken as legal counsel, and if need be, please contact a lawyer for your case. So the first thing, as always, just to note, I'm doing this form on a tablet, but the instructions still remain the same and the form still remain the same. So first you want to go to Google and you want to go on the USCIS website. I want to select that, and then you want to go to the menu bar, go on forms, and you can filter the form and search for it based, since you know the name, or you can categorize it based on employment based form, family based form, green card based form, which the employment authorization form will fall under several categories. But for the sake of this video, we are just going to scroll down until we find the form. So here we go, the employment authorization form. Then we're going to click on form details, and when we go to that page, we are going to see the form, the instructions, the worksheet, the form IG 1145. And as I said in other videos, please download the instruction forms, read them very carefully. But for the sake of this video, we're just going to download the form. But please download your form and your instruction, read your instruction before filling out any form. Make sure you also go to check that the edition of the form that is being used, and make sure that the expiration date is the same. Read where you should file it based on your category, if it applies, if a filing fee is applicable. Now, based on how I'm doing this from a standpoint of a B2 visa overstay married to a US citizen. So, and I did my filing concurrently, so I didn't have to pay a fee for my application for employment authorization. A lot of people, it waives the fee. Once you have a pending I-485, then you can just submit your employment application and a receipt of your I-485. So as I said, make sure you read all these instructions very carefully. Now let's go into downloading the form. And here we have the form I-765 downloaded in our web browser. But people, please do not fill out this form in the web browser. You want to go and make sure that you have an Adobe Reader on your computer or your desktop, your laptop. And what you want to do is then go and search for the form on in the Adobe and bring it up from here. I'll try to go through the form as quick as possible, so this video is short and not too overbearing. So as I said, I'm filling this out on my tablet, so therefore I will not be able to input any information, but I go by section by section. Alright, so firstly, you want to ensure that your dates are as correct as possible in terms of making this section right here. You want to make sure that your expiration date has not been expired. If you have an expired form, then they will return your application. There are instances where an application may be expired and there is no new form yet available, then you may use the current form. You also want to check for this date right down here, which is the edition form. So make sure that the edition and your expiration form are the current, because those are two instances where your application can be denied. You also want to make sure that your version of the form carries a barcode, because this is what they use to read your application into their system. Okay, so now let's go through the form. So we're going to start at part 1, where it says type or print in black ink. So you may fill out your application on the computer, or you may print it off in paper form and fill it out with a black ink only. You may also use a blue ink to sign it, but it is recommended to use black ink. But you may use a blue ink for your signature only. So now, Section 1, it says a reason for applying. And as I said, I'm filling this out from a B2 overstay perspective. Someone who's already here in the States, or it could be, I think the same applies when it comes to this employment authorization form. It doesn't matter because everybody has to fill it out. But it's just in response to part 1, we're gonna have the differentiation. So if I'm a B2 person overstay just applying for my adjustment of status, then I'm going to select part A, 1A, initial permission to accept unemployment. If you are someone who had already received a employment authorization form or renewing it, then you select one of the other options that applies to you. The next thing you're going to select is the full name. Part 2, information about yourself, your full legal name. And in this section, you want to use your married name if you are married, and adjusting your status, use your married name, not your maiden name. But if you're someone who already had a employment authorization form, who may be on an employment based visa, then you would use your legal name, or whichever, if you're married, whichever name. So you're going to put your last name, middle name, or first name. I know some people may not have a middle name, so you're going to put not applicable in the form. I've said this a million times on other forms. People do not leave any space blank. Make sure you have not applicable or none. I differentiate by saying if the space requires a numeric number, put none. If it requires letters, put not applicable in the space. Or for some application, they may say, for example, if you have a USCIS number, fill it in or leave the space blank. That's why I'm saying it is very important for you to read the instructions before starting any one of the application. So we move on to other name use. So for this section, if you have used, for me, in part 1, 1A, for me, in part 1A right here, I use my married name. So in part 2, I put my name before I was married, my maiden name, without my married name. So you want to fill this out with your name before you were married. So for example, if my last name was Jones Brown, because I'm married, sorry for my writing, then here my last name would just be Brown, right? So that's what I mean. And all this section right here, if you have not used any other name, please write NA in every single space, people. Every single space. Alright, so now we're moving on to page 2. I'll try to go as faster, but I want to ensure that everybody gets the information that I'm bringing across, because one of the issues I have when I was researching on filling out this form, a lot of people would go through the form so fast without proper explanation. Okay, section 5A, right here. So it says U.S. mailing address in care of, if any. So normally you can put any here if you're living at your own residence, or just leave it blank, because in care of just basically means if you're living in someone else's apartment and their mail has to come through, your mail has to come through that person. You want to put your street name if you live in an apartment, floor, or whatever. Your city, town, state, and zip code, make sure that is all in. Number 6, if your current mailing address is the same as your physical address, you want to put yes if it's so, or stick no if it's so. And if you stick no, then you want to go ahead and fill out this section right here. But if you stick yes, you're going to put NA in all these spaces. make sure. I know for some people they have issues when filling out the form, even in Adobe Reader, where you can't put the NA. When you print your form out, get a black ink and write that section in, the NA in. But make sure no space is left blank. Then we want to go on now to question number 8, alien number, if any. So this is where I was saying. So if you're applying for the first time to adjust your status, then you will not have an alien number. So you want to put none in this section right here. If you do not have a USCIS number, you want to put none or not applicable in these spaces. Okay, do not leave them blank unless the instruction says you should leave it blank. So I know on the I-944, which is the declaration of self-sufficiency, it says in the instruction, if you do not have a registration number, alien registration number, leave the space blank. Also, people, moving on to 10, these I don't really have to go into much explanation about. If you're a male or female, if you're married, single, or divorced, have you previously filed form I-665. So this would be applicable to people who are renewing their form. So if you are, as I said, filling out this application from my standpoint, where you're just applying for it, you want to stay no. 13A, has the Social Security Administration ever issued a Social Security card to you? Now this can be tricky in the sense that there are some people who are just applying or adjusting their status for the first time but do hold a social security number because they probably have came to the US on a J1 program before or a H2B program before, which they were given a social security number. So in this case, you want to stick yes. And up in option 13B, it states provide your social security number. If known, then you're going to select yes. Do you want the social security to issue a social security card? You can select yes if you want to, even if you have a social already. And this could apply to persons, as I said, who have a J1 before or have been on a J1 program or H2B. Most time, those social security come with a notation that not authorized to work without DHS authorization. So you want to have them give you a fresher card. That's one thing if you want, or you can just wait until you get your EAD card and you go to the Social Security Office to update it. So for example, females who are married, their social, if they have one already, may have their maiden name, you can go by the Social Security Office to have them update it, or you can select on here, on this form here, for them to update it and send you a new one. So basically that's what 14 is describing. And if you want them to send you a form, then as a card, then you will fill out 16A to 17B on this form. If no, you select no, then write not applicable in 16 and 17. Moving on to 18A. List all your countries where you have previously held citizenship. That's basically self-explanatory. So whichever country you were born in, or if you have ever had citizenship for any other country, then you want to fill that in. Let's move on to page 3. Place of birth. You want to put your place where you're born in your home country and your date of birth. Those sections I will not spend a lot of time on because those are pretty easy and self-explanatory. Your form I-94 arrival departure number. So for this section right here, you can go on Google, type in form I-94 and it bring you to a website where they'll ask you for some personal information like your passport number and stuff like that, your date of birth, and then you can receive your I-94 arrival departure number. If you do not have one, if you did not come to the country, paroled or inspected at an airport or point of entry, then you may not have one. In that case, anybody in that case needs to seek legal counsel before going for any immigration benefits. So here, after you go on that website, then you can print your I-94 and it will give you, I think it's a 10-digit number, and you enter it right here. If you do not have any, you put none. But as I said, if it's a case where you do not have an I-94 and you did not get paroled into the country, speak to a lawyer. You want to add your passport number, travel document, if any. So there are some countries who probably do not need a passport, but other travel documents, I think, like if you're coming from Canada into the US, sometimes you may not need your passport, but you may need some type of travel document to say yes, you can travel to the country. So you're going to put that there. If you do not have one or your country does not require it, please put NA. Country that issues your passport or travel document, you want to enter your passport number in that. You want to enter the country that issues your passport. So for example, if you're from Nigeria, you're going to put Nigeria. If you're from Barbados, you're going to put Barbados. If you're from Jamaica, you're going to put Jamaica. Then you also want to put your expiration date, the date you last arrived into the United States, your last place of arrival, your status, and your current immigration status. So let me go back over from 21E with a little bit more extended explanation. So expiration date for your passport or travel document, which you normally could find on your information page on those documents. The date you last arrived into the United States is basically the last time you took a plane, landed at an airport here. So you make sure you want to have that date current and your place of arrival into the United States. So if you came into the United States for, say, in Florida, but you now live in New York, you want to put the entry in which you came. So if you came through Miami or Fort Lauderdale, that's what you need to put right there. Your immigration status, at your arrival, if you came on a B2 visa, if you came on an F1 student visa, if you did not get paroled or inspected at what they call, if you did not come here legally, then you want to put in their status there. That's what I'm filling this out from a B2 perspective. So my immigration status would be B2 visa. Your current immigration status or category. For this now, if you are someone who are applying for a employment authorization as part of your adjustment of status, then you want to put I-485 pending. That's what you want to put as your status. If you are currently waiting on an I-485 approval or if you're filing concurrently. Then for most students who are studying, or if you come on a J1 exchange program, they will issue what you call a service number. You want to put that there. But for the purpose of this application, it's going to be not applicable or none. So moving on to question 27, eligibility category. Now this is one reason, or this is one section why you have to read the instruction to find out your category. In this case, where say the person is married to a US citizen filing for adjustment of status, your category will be C9. Now, as I said, please go and read the instructions to figure out your category. There's a lot of information online about this. It may take some time to research, but please go and read the instruction. All of here would be not applicable because we did not come through the stem up. E-verification, not applicable, not applicable, excuse me, not applicable, not applicable. So please go through this section from 28 down to 31B. Basically covered like students or people who came on a employment based category. But as I said, I'm filling this out from the perspective of a B2 overstay or a K1 visa application. So please go through and read that more in detail. As I said, 28 to 31 is basically if you came here on a student visa or work visa, that category mostly applies to you. Now let's move on to page 4, where it said application, statement, contact information, declaration, certification, and signature. Read the penalty section of Form I-765 instruction. Before completing this section, you must file Form I-765 while in the United States. So, if you are the applicant that fill out your own form, you are going to want to stick I can read, understand English. If an interpreter fills it out for you, they will select that. Or if you had someone else, maybe a paralegal or a lawyer, fill out the form for you, they will select that. You want to add your cell phone number, an email, an home number in those sections. Select this box if you are an Salvadorian or Guatemalan national eligible for benefits under the ABC settlement agreement. That does not apply to me in this case or for this application, but if you are, then you select that. Then you want to make sure that you go through and read all of this instruction before signing your application. So you're going to sign your signature right there and date it right here. For me, I also went ahead and put not applicable, not applicable, not applicable for all these sections down here. Interpreter, preparator, all of these sections, I went ahead and put not applicable. Now for this section, part 6, additional information, you basically want to enter your full name as you did in part 1, I think, or part 2, right here. And if you have any additional information that you want to make mention that you think may not be clear enough for the officer accepting or reviewing your application, you can add that information right here. So you make sure you want to put your page number. So for example, page number 6, part number 2, item number 1A, just using that as an example. Then you write, okay, this is what I'm making note of. For example, using the section where if you had a social security and want to make clear, then you can go ahead and list the page number, the item number, and then you can state had a social security. Am I writing so bad? Card from J1 program. Okay, so you can go ahead and fill that out. And that basically comes to the end of this form. I hope I was thorough as possible for who is currently filling out this form. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comment section. I'll try my best to answer them or direct you to a source where you may be able to get more clarification on your question. Thank you so much.